Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of IP2 Wiki Info Live, audio only edition. And this evening, I just want to share a few articles with many of you, along with some commentary in regards to this most recent school shooting. I mean, I can't even believe that this happened. I'm going over some of the details and whatnot right now, and this is a shame. And over the years, I've gone back and forth in regards to gun control and whatnot, whether it needs to be put in place or not. I don't want to say that gun control is 100% needed right now, but I kind of have to because there are so many bad parents within the United States of America that are going on unchecked. And really, that's what the root of this situation is: bad parenting. As I'm doing Google searches on the young man who was the mass shooter in this situation, a young man named Colt Gray. I'm just looking at how young this kid is. I'm reading through these various accounts of there being so many warning signs, but the parents not really doing anything to help their child. And the whole thing just makes me think about these bad moms and bad dads that I've been chronicling and documenting within these online communities that I've covered over the past couple of years. I mean, in this particular case, the FBI was even aware of the situation for a year, but it escalated to this. And the mass shooting did result, to my knowledge, in 4 deaths, 9 people being injured. I mean, this is the direct result of bad parenting in the United States of America, not properly making parents be accountable. It is not the school system's job to raise your damn children. It is not the internet's job. It's no one's job but yours, you piss poor parents out there. And as I read through this information, it just ignites a spark in me that was even brighter than before when it comes to continuing my own plight to make parents accountable for their bad choices, bad actions, and bad decisions that result in their children growing up to feel bad about themselves, often hate themselves, and then take out their negative feelings about themselves upon the world, like Colt Gray did. That's the reality. I mean, really, who in the Bad Moms Club is raising America's next mass shooter? There's quite a few contenders. I don't even have to say your names or your aliases because it's evident. Who in the Bad Moms Club is raising America's next mass shooter? That's really the question. I'm sure a few of you out there have a few ideas as to who's doing it. This kind of thing is why I strongly encourage all of you out there who enjoy documenting things to document these damn bad parents. Because more and more of them are raising mass shooters. And something has to be done about it. I'm telling you, there needs to be licensing to be a parent. There needs to be licensing to procreate. There needs to be licensing to be a parent. And this Colt Gray mass shooting is just more evidence of what I'm saying being correct. It just is. So I'm just going to go ahead and read through some of this information for those of you out there who might be a little bit behind in the news. Let's see, where should I start? I guess I'll start with cbsnews.com. Georgia high school shooting suspect was previously interviewed after FBI received reports of online threats. Well, look at that. Online threats. Online threats. New details are emerging about the 14-year-old student accused of killing 4 people and wounding 9 others in Wednesday's shooting at Appalachia High School in northern Georgia, including what investigators learned when they interviewed the suspect last year. So this had been like a year in the making. A year in the making. This kid was making online threats. I hate to say it, but I think part of the reason that a lot of this went unchecked had to do with the fact that he had the complexion for the protection. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but I'm telling you. As new information comes out about the suspect, Colt Gray, officials continue to investigate how the teen obtained the gun used in the attack and what led up to the latest school shooting in the U.S. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced on Thursday evening that the suspect's father, 54-year-old Colin Gray, was arrested on murder charges in connection with the shooting. Good. He was taken into custody on 2 counts of second-degree murder, 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Good. Exactly. The cruelty to children. Because really, it sounds to me like Colt Gray have been psychologically abused for a long time. And then he took out his anger on his peers. We're looking at, and what a coincidence, his last name is Gray. Because when you really look at this, we're looking at a very gray area of behavior between bad, piss poor parents and their poor, abused, and neglected children. A lot of people don't want to deem psychological and spiritual abuse as abuse, but it is. When you constantly berate a child, talk down to a child, psychologically abuse the child, that child at some point is going to fight back. How the child fights back? It depends on the kid. Are they going to take it out on somebody else, or are they going to take it out on the parent? But this is why I think that parents need to be far more closely monitored, maybe even routinely interviewed by government officials. They need to maintain licensing for their parenting, because not everybody can be a parent, and that's the truth. There's a lot of people who should be parents who are not, and a lot of people who are parents who never should have had the right to conceive. Colt Gray's father failed. And not only did he fail, but his failing took out 4 other lives. And the warning signs were there. But let me continue reading this. These charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. GBI Director Chris Hosey said in a news conference Thursday night. CBS News learned that police and federal agents are investigating if the weapon used in the shooting was purchased by the teen's father as a gift for his son in 2023, according to 4 federal law enforcement sources close to the investigation. Why is anyone buying a 14-year-old a gun? Is this a common thing now? Is this what people are doing? Is this a result of homeschooling? Are a lot of the homeschooling parents doing this with their kids, buying their kids guns? And then the kids go from being homeschooled to public school and they have possession of weapons. And is that what's going on? I hope not. But I'm not a parent. I don't know. But if I was a parent, I know damn well, as of today, I would be inquiring with my child's friends' parents, hey, are you allowing your kid to have a firearm? Because that would be a kid that my kid wouldn't be allowed to play with anymore. All these are things to think about. A search of the suspect's home following the shooting also showed that the suspect had an interest in previous school shootings, CBS News has learned. So the kid was researching other school shootings? I'm wondering if young kids need to even be allowed to be on the internet at this point. Maybe there needs to be licensing to be able to utilize the internet. Because when I look at a lot of these young people in their early 20s, late teens that are coming into these online communities that I'm covering, I'm thinking to myself, how long have these young people been on the internet? Should they be unsupervised on the internet? I don't think so. I'm not comfortable with these bad moms and bad dads giving these kids tablets so that they can look up whatever they want to look up. Because now we're seeing they're looking up previous school shootings. What else are they looking up? Kids don't need to have access to infinite information. Again, this all goes back to bad parenting. Earlier tips about threats. And again, I'm just reading from cbsnews.com. More than a year ago, tips about online posts threatening a school shooting led Georgia police to interview a 13-year-old boy, but investigators didn't have enough evidence for an arrest. On Wednesday, that same boy opened fire at his high school in North Georgia, officials said. The suspect has been charged as an adult in the deaths of Appalachia High School students Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo, both 14 years old, and instructors Richard Aspinwall, who was 39, and Christina Arimi, who was 53, GBI Director Chris Hosey said at a news conference. At least 9 other people, 8 students and 1 teacher at the school in Winder, about an hour's drive northeast of Atlanta, were taken into hospitals with injuries. At least 7 of those patients were treated and released by late Thursday, while at least 1 other remained hospitalized in stable condition, hospital officials said. The suspect is currently being held at the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice spokesperson Glenn Allen told CBS News on Thursday. Armed with an assault-style rifle, the teen turned the gun on students in a hallway at the school when classmates refused to open the door for him to return to his algebra classroom, classmate Layla said. The teen earlier left the second period algebra classroom, and Leah figured the quiet student who recently transferred was skipping school again. But he returned later and wanted back in the classroom. Some students went to open the locked door, but instead backed away. I'm guessing they saw something, but for some reason they didn't open the door, Leah said. When she looked at him through the window in the door, she saw the student and heard a barrage of gunshots. Oh man. It was it was about 10 or 15 of them at once, back to back, she said. See? You know what? All of you freaking psycho desktop streamers out there who've thought all this time that it was cute or cool or exercising your constitutional rights to be flailing around guns and everything on your live streams, you're a bunch of assholes who deserve the worst. You want to have a gun? Then enroll in the goddamn military and go overseas and defend what you claim to love so much, which are your constitutional rights. But here's the reality about a lot of you out there, especially a lot of you white males who love to boast and brag and show off your guns online. The truth is that a lot of you are cowards who are not raising your children properly. And you're sending your kids into schools, and your kids are killing other people's kids. And then you wonder why certain people have mindsets along the lines of mine. The math students ducked onto the floor and sporadically crawled around looking for a safe corner to hide. 2 school resource officers encountered the shooter within minutes after a report of shots fired went out, Hosey said. The teen immediately surrendered and was taken into custody. According to Barrow County Sheriff Jude Smith, law enforcement was notified of the threat thanks to a new security system that had been installed about a week earlier. Smith noted there were 3 school resource officers on campus at the time of the shooting. Georgia prohibits minors from owning guns, but has few restrictions for adults who wish to carry firearms. Under both state and federal law, the teen would not have been legally allowed to buy a handgun, rifle, or shotgun, according to the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. Individuals must be at least 18 years old to purchase handguns in Georgia, while federal law sets the same minimum age for buying shotguns and rifles. Well, apparently the laws aren't working. The laws are not working. They are not working because, unfortunately, there's just too many bad parents. Until you can fix the problem of bad parenting, there don't need to be, all the guns just need to be taken until people can become better parents. That's just going to have to be what happens. And that's something that I would support. It's a moment like this that makes me really sit here and think to myself and thank God that I am not a parent in this day and age, because I would not want to raise a child knowing that their peers have the kind of parents that I've been documenting. No way in hell. Mm-mm. Now listen to this. Teen previously interviewed over FBI tips. So people knew about this kid. People have been calling. People have been trying to figure out what was what. But the FBI, for some reason, didn't do anything. And I wonder what that reason is. I wonder what it is. The teen had been interviewed after the FBI received anonymous tips in May of 2023 about online threats to commit an unspecified school shooting, the agency said in a statement. FBI Atlanta said on social media on Wednesday night that the FBI's National Threat Operations Center found that the post came from Georgia, and the FBI's Atlanta field office referred the information to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, which is adjacent to Barrow County. The sheriff's office interviewed the then 13-year-old and his father, who said they were hunting guns in the house, who said there were hunting guns in the house, but the teen did not have unsupervised access to them. Well, obviously that was a lie. The teen also denied making any online threats. So again, I think that it's because these people were white that they were given a pass. I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear that, but that is what I feel. According to reports from the sheriff's office released on Thursday, the threats were made using an account on the online chatting app Discord. Oh, Discord? Really? Discord. So here we are again. It's time to shut down Discord, and it's time to investigate quite a few of these Discord servers, especially when they're linked to YouTubers who are routinely shown as showcasing their guns on YouTube or whatever video platform they're using. Whenever you see some jerk waving around a firearm on live stream, you know that something is wrong. But I mean, we're learning what the recipe is for disaster. Too much white privilege, firearms, Discord, online threats, all of that. Put all that together, gun ownership, that's the recipe for America's next mass shooter. Throw in the bad parenting, alcohol, substance abuse. It might get to the point to where we can actually predict who's raising America's next mass shooter. Just knowing those elements that consistently seem to be in the equation. According to reports from the sheriff's office released on Thursday, the threats were made using an account on the online chatting app Discord. The profile name for the account was written in Russian, which was translated to the last name of the shooter in the deadly 2012 attack at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newton, Connecticut, according to the sheriff's office. Wow. Oh my God. Well, this is a little off topic of this, but I was listening to a live stream last night, and that guy, public figure James Metallo, aka Q, who threatened to assault and rape me, he was specifically talking about Russia on a live stream. I hate to say it, but I think that he's a young person who unfortunately embodies quite a few elements that will likely be a recipe for disaster for a mass amount of people. Because when you look at the kinds of people that he talks to, the level of hate he embodies, the fact that he fixates on certain people that he's never met over the internet, he's constantly making online threats, he's done a lot of violent activity while live streaming, and he's honestly not much older than this mass shooter. He doesn't have his parents in his life. Lots of warning signs, and people have noticed it, documented it, spoken up. The teen told investigators he deleted the Discord account because it kept getting hacked, according to the sheriff's office reports. Hacked? No. He's just, again, blaming fictitious elements for his own bad behavior. And where did he likely learn to do that from? His horrible parent of a father. You think the same's going to happen with Blackout Andy? I think so too, urban homesteading. It already kind of has. The teen told investigators he deleted the Discord account because it kept getting hacked, according to sheriff's office reports. Local police records obtained by CBS News described him as reserved and calm during the interview with Jackson County Sheriff's deputies. Those records also indicates Gray's. Oops. Hold on. The page is reloading. Hold on. I lost my place. Why did the page just reload? That was weird. Just give me one moment because I lost my place. All right, here we are. Okay. The sheriff's office interviewed the then 13-year-old and his father, who said they were hunting guns. No, I already read that part. Okay, here we are. Local police records obtained by CBS News described him as reserved and calm during the interview with Jackson County Sheriff's deputies. Those records also indicate Gray's parents were going through a messy divorce at the time, with his mother taking custody of two other children in the divorce while the suspect stayed with his father. Jackson County Sheriff Janice Mangum, whose deputies questioned the suspect in 2023, told CBS News on Thursday that it's sad that we have this kind of evil in our society. In the incident report, a deputy reported that the teen assured me he never made any threats to shoot up any school. Well, that kid lied. Mangum doesn't believe that 2023 interview was a missed opportunity. Quote, no, I think he, the deputy, did all he could with what he had at the time, Mangum said. Well, I personally don't think he did. I think for some reason this kid was given a pass. I would like to see a picture of the deputy personally, and I have a particular reason as to why I would like to see that. The sheriff's office interview also revealed that the teen and his father have been evicted from their home in early 2023. The father also told investigators that the teen had been having problems at middle school, but that things had gotten better when he went to a different middle school. The father told investigators he'd gone to the new school many times to keep track of his son and described the conversations with school officials. Quote, he doesn't really think straight. Can we just kind of put your arms around him and get him through the 7th grade, end quote, the father said, according to the transcript. Quote, I just want to make sure he's good. We're up there all the time talking to the school, end quote. It's not the school's job to raise your kids. It's your job to raise your children, parents. And really, think before you have kids. You need to look at yourself honestly in the mirror before you procreate. And when you look at yourself, you need to say to yourself, am I really somebody who should be raising a child? And if the answer is yes, the first thing you need to do is sign up for a therapist, because most likely, if the answer is yes, you're a narcissist and you should not be raising a child. It shouldn't even be up to any of you as to whether or not you procreate. It should be the government's decision at this point. Because at this rate, there's not going to be any young people left. The young people who are raised by bad parents are going to kill the rest of the kids. And no one's doing anything about it. It's horrible. It's horrible. The father also told the investigators his son was getting picked on in school. The sheriff's office alerted local schools for continued monitoring of the teen, but there was no probable cause for arrest or additional action, the FBI said. Hosey said the State Division of Family and Children's Services also had previous contact with the teen and will investigate whether that has any connection with the shooting. Local news outlets reported that law enforcement on Wednesday searched the teen's family home in Bethlehem, Georgia, east of the high school. All the students that had to watch their teachers and their fellow classmates die, the ones that had to walk out of the school limping, that looked traumatized, that's the consequence of the action of not taking control. Authorities were still looking into how the teen obtained the gun used in the shooting and got it into the school with about 1,900 students in Barrow County, a rapidly suburbanizing area on the edge of Metro Atlanta's ever expanding sprawl. Disturbing trend. It was the latest among dozens of school shootings across the U.S. in recent years, including especially deadly ones in Newtown, Connecticut, Parkland, Florida, and Uvalde, Texas. The classroom killings have set off fervent debates about gun control and frayed the nerves of parents whose children are growing up accustomed to active shooter drills in classrooms. But they have done little to move the needle on national gun laws. There needs to be gun control at this point. I mean, when you look at the level of racist hate that is only increasing within these online communities that are linked to Discord, I mean, what do you all think is going to happen? There's just going to be more and more of this. And it is the parents' faults. It's their fault. Parents are not parenting nowadays. And then to make it worse, you have a lot of these parents who are doing this homeschooling and they are not educated enough to properly educate their children. They're just not. We're basically looking at an entire generation. I won't say entire, but a high percentage of the kids coming up. I would go as far as to say that 50% of their parents never should have been parents. And that number is just going to increase. So let's continue. Before Wednesday, there have been 29 mass killings in the U.S. so far this year, according to a database maintained by the Associated Press and USA Today in partnership with Northeastern University. At least 127 people have died in those killings, which are defined as incidents in which 4 or more people die within a 24-hour period, not including the killer. The same definition used by the FBI. On Wednesday evening, hundreds gathered in Jug Tavern Park in downtown Winder for a vigil. Volunteers handed out candles and also water, pizza, and tissues. Some knelt as a Methodist minister led the crowd in prayer after a Barrow County commissioner read a Jewish prayer of the morning, or of mourning. Christopher Vasquez, 15, said he attended the vigil because he needed to feel grounded and be in a safe place. He was in band practice when the lockdown order was issued. He said it felt like a regular drill as students lined up to hide in the band closet. Once we heard banging at the door and the SWAT team came in to take us out, that's when I knew it was serious, he said. I just started shaking and crying. He finally settled down once he was at the football stadium. I just was praying that everyone I love was safe, he said. Wow. So that's what happened. That's what happened. But there's more information I want to share. This is from the Washington Post. It was posted today. It's titled Georgia School Shooting Suspect Struggled with Mental Health, aunt says. So this kid had problems and nobody helped him. The parents were too concerned with themselves. I wonder why the mother left this child with the father instead of taking him. So the mother is to blame too. Absolutely. I'm just going to read this. The 14-year-old arrested after a mass killing at Georgia's Appalachia High School had been begging for months for mental health help before he allegedly carried out a deadly attack on Wednesday, according to an aunt of the shooting suspect. He, quote, was begging for help from everybody around him, end quote. Annie Brown, the aunt, told the Washington Post, quote, the adults around him failed him, end quote. Well, there you have it. It took the aunt to tell us the truth. Annie Brown. Annie Brown probably had been witnessing the psychological and spiritual abuse of this young child for years. I'll bet you Annie Brown at some point approached some sort of authority, some sort of organization, but could she do anything? No, because she didn't have any rights. She's not the parents. And as we know from the Bad Moms Club that I've been covering, some of the worst people in the society are having children at a rate that they shouldn't be. It really is the truth. And that is why people are not valuing their children enough, because there's too many. Maybe there needs to be less so that people understand how valuable human life really is. I'm going to continue reading. Brown, who lives in Central Florida, declined to elaborate on the teen's mental health challenges, but said she tried from afar to get him help. See, there it is. She tried to help, but she couldn't because she's not the parent. In text messages to a relative, she voiced concern last month that her nephew had access to a gun, according to screenshots she provided to the Post. So the aunt had sense. That's what it sounds like to me. The aunt had common sense, was trying to help. The aunt actually probably should have been the one raising the child. I'm telling you, not everyone who's a parent is cut out to be a parent. We're seeing it with this Bad Moms Club. We're seeing it with a lot of these piss poor fathers who are into this streaming shit. We're seeing it. But the laws are not changing to reflect what we are seeing. And that is what must shift in our society immediately. Is there anything else I want to read with this? Well, apparently the grandmother was saying that he was supposed to start with a therapist about 1 week before he opened fire on his fellow students. Oh, wow. Well, this is just where we are in our society right now. This is where we are. People have become such terrible parents that you got 14-year-olds killing their peers at school. And he wasn't even really technically supposed to be at the school where he killed these people. He'd switched schools, should have been at the other school. But it doesn't matter. His parents' poor parenting has resulted now in 4 deaths. Way to go, Grays. Way to go. So to those of you out there who are parents, as time goes on, if you don't do a good job, don't be surprised to find your piss poor parenting activity documented thoroughly on the internet by concerned observers. Because a lot of concerned observers, such as myself, are sick and tired of this mess. We're sick and tired of seeing parents who do not value the privilege that they have of being parents. They don't value the lives that are in their care, their children, and they're expecting everyone else to raise their kids, yet they want to take the credit for being parents like it was difficult to begin with. It's not. It's easy to be a parent as far as biologically. What the difficult thing is raising a successful person from childhood to adulthood. And for the most part, nowadays, parents, they're not doing that. So laws need to change. More people who are concerned about this kind of thing do need to get into politics to change the laws, because less people need to be having children. Too many people who are not qualified even to be human beings are procreating, and they're ruining life for the people who actually do give a damn, who are raising their children properly, and who are living their life right. This whole thing is an atrocity. It makes me very upset, and it should make many of you out there upset too. So I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. I'm sorry if it was an assault upon some of your ears, but this is the type of thing that drives me to do some of the things that I do to create awareness through the spread of information. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.